Hi, this is Ruby Rose, founder of iRoo. Super pleased to be here with Dr. Mort Orman, who is a anger elimination coach. And our topic today is when you feel like just giving up. And you've had anger for a long time and you've tried different techniques and you worked with a therapist or psychotherapist or whoever, and you worked with this one and you tried that and you read this book and you did those practices and nothing is working, and you feel like nothing works, so I'm just going to give up. Maybe I don't have an issue. Maybe my issue is not so big. Maybe other people are making it seem worse than it actually is. Or you just feel discouraged. What do you do at this point? And this is where Dr. Mort is going to give us some wonderful insights on that it's not time to give up. It's actually time to change your techniques. So looking forward to hearing your thoughts, Dr. Mort.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. Yeah, so the purpose of this discussion is to help you understand why that happens, why people tend to give up trying to solve their anger problems, and when they can find a solution if they hadn't given up, if they just kept searching. And it's not the typical solutions are, like you mentioned, they're not going to be all that effective, but there are solutions out there that can help anger during the divorce and also after the divorce. So, as you mentioned, there's no secret that when you go through a divorce, anger can be flying around all over the place. Emotions run high, easy to get triggered and get angry and stay angry for long periods of time. And most people, as you said, will try and do something about their anger. They'll recognize it's not good for them and they'll try to control it and they'll try to stop getting triggered, stop having intense angry reactions. And as you also mentioned, usually it doesn't lead to much success. And after you do that for a while, the tendency is to just quit and give up and get pessimistic and say, why bother? And this is a shame because, as I mentioned, there are very effective solutions out there. But when you go through that process and you've tried everything you know how to do and you don't get the results, it's very understandable that you may conclude nothing's going to help. So the solution that I'm aware of is called anger elimination. It's something I discovered over 40 years ago, and I've been using ever since and teaching other people how to use it ever since. And the reason why, there are a number of reasons why we tend to give up, and I think that's important to get some insight into. But the first one is that the most of the advice you're going to receive is going to be about managing your anger. And managing your anger mainly just deals with the symptoms. So you're never going to cure the problem. You're never going to stop getting angry through anger management, but you can through anger elimination. And most people aren't aware of this. So you're going to, if you do anger management, you're going to keep reacting. You're going to keep getting triggered. That's just what happens when you just deal with symptoms and you don't address the underlying causes. So when these repeated disappointments occur, people naturally just tend to give up. Another reason is there are a lot of myths in our society today about anger. A lot of people believe anger is just part of life. You can't get rid of it. You can't stop having it. The best you can do is to manage it. So the whole idea of living without anger is foreign to most people, and it seems radical and unbelievable. So they don't even, approach anything that sort of promises that result. There's also a fear of change and a fear of the unknown. And what happens when you've been angry for a long while, apparently, anger tends to become part of your identity. And you start to feel like it's protecting you. You start to feel like it's a good thing to have, even though it's causing problems. But it becomes part of your identity. So the idea of living without anger is actually threatening on a subconscious level because that's all you know. And you don't know this other world where you could be free of your anger. And just to even think about it is scary because it's unfamiliar. Another big reason why people give up when they don't have to is because there's resistance to being wrong. And in order to embrace anger elimination, which is different from anger management, you've got to admit at some level that you've been wrong about a whole lot of things. You've been wrong about everything that people have told you about anger and that all the anger management experts are preaching that you may have bought into. And you've been wrong about that your anger is caused by other people's behaviors because it's being caused by your own brain. So there's this aspect of being wrong that you have to be willing to admit if you want to embrace anger elimination and actually get rid of the problem. But a lot of people are reluctant to do that. So in short, there are a lot of good reasons why people would tend to assume that the thing to do is to give up, but it's really not a good strategy. It leaves you stuck with your anger and all the damage that anger can do when you really don't have to. So you can learn how to understand your anger differently and how to deal with it better. And I'd be happy to show you how to do that. All you have to do is reach out. I've been doing this for 40 years and gotten very, very good at it. So if you're ready to give up the struggle and you want to learn how to eliminate anger, please reach out. My contact information is below. There's no need to continue to have lots of anger, either doing while you go through divorce or in the aftermath after divorce. So if you're interested and like to learn more, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is there, and I'd be happy to schedule a free consultation with you. So, attention.
Thank you. That's actually really great. I think that it's very easy to give up when there's a lot going on in the divorce process. You know, you're dealing with this and this choice and this challenge and all of that. And you tend to put yourself last. My best suggestion is try not to put yourself last all the time for a long period of time. Because if you do, you'll have to deal with the consequences of that later on. So not only are you dealing with all these problems now, you're going to have to deal with that later on and all the effects that it has on everyone around you. So we did another video about how your anger and recurring anger can really affect the people around you, your children, relationships, your colleagues, your family, you as in general. So if you tend to give up on a lot of things, this is probably one of the things that you really shouldn't give up on because you're going to feel so much more at peace and so much more relieved just knowing I don't have to live with this anymore. I don't have to deal with this anymore. I don't have to think about this anymore. And that on its own is really going to help you rebuild and restructure your life in a beautiful way. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing those thoughts. Thank you all for watching. You could reach Dr. Mort. All his coordinates are here below to see if and how he could help you from this point forward. And thank you all for watching. Until the next time we speak, I wish you all a day that matters. Take care, everyone.